So, okay, so let's get started today. And today we're doing an adaptation of a sequence that we've done, which I call Yin for a Rainy Day. And as it's Yin, which is, you know, it's a little bit cold, and I think we need a little bit of relaxing stretches and holding for a while. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm actually really looking forward to holding the stretches for a long time, because when I was doing the retreat, it was, 3 minutes. And when you've been doing them for 5 minutes, 3 minutes seems really short. So, okay, so great. Nice to be back with the regular classes. So, let's start in a comfortable seated position, and today I'm just going to propose that each person chooses the breathing technique that you'd like. So either just breath awareness, the diaphragmatic breathing, or if you just want to do the alternate nose breathing. So we're going to be here with this breathing technique, whichever you choose, for 3 minutes, and of course just starting off the breathing technique with just a connection to the breath. So just bringing the awareness to the breath, and then going ahead with whatever breath awareness technique you would prefer. So let's just take one deep breath in and out, and then slowly drawing attention just to your breath, focusing on your breath. Your tension on the abdomen, and now any technique you'd prefer for the next 3 minutes. And so slowly just bringing the attention back to the breath. If you've been doing a specific technique, just focusing on the natural breath. Now slowly opening your eyes. Take a deep breath. And then let's just slowly move off the bolster if you were sitting on a bolster. And we're going to move now into the straddle. And so in the straddle, if you remember, straddle, legs wide open, as wide as is comfortable for you. And then remember for this, as usual with the straddle, options, I can be seated. And this was one of the options that I provided in the retreat, that if you find it challenging to move forward, a really nice option is actually to have your feet on the ground, and then you can actually, for example, move forward like this onto the blocks. And in this way, it makes it more accessible for some people who have really tight hamstrings. Otherwise, if you are more comfortable not sitting on a bolster and you want to have your legs open, one other thing that some people really like is just to bring the bolster and you lean onto the bolster like this. And the other option is actually just to lean like this as well. Okay? So, as we say in Spanish, adelante. And remember with this pose, the target area is the adductor muscles, so the groin muscles. But then, of course, you might also feel it in the hamstrings. It depends on the structure of your body. And then remember always, when we're doing this, the back is rounded. So we can just relax all those muscles in the back. So Maria, I can see you really well today. Yeah, it makes a big difference. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Okay. So remember, you can have your bolster and you can lean on the bolster like this, or you can have the blocks piled up. So whichever works for you. Or books, like Alba is piling up lots of books there. That's great. Yeah. So just going slowly into it. Remember, it's it's a little bit cold here. It may be, I don't know what it's like in your houses. Maybe it's a little cool there as well. So your muscles are, you may feel a little bit of tension there. So just go slowly into the position and remembering that your feet are neutral. Remember your feet are not flexed, because if your feet are flexed, then your muscles are engaged, and we're looking, always in yin, we're looking to relax. the target area. So if the target area is around the groin muscles or the hamstrings, then what we really need to do is, if we can, is just relax that area. And so if you are seated on a bolster, it's a good idea to have blocks underneath your thighs or underneath your knees so you can completely relax that area. And so when you come forward, it's more accessible and you can actually get the benefit of that nice stretch. And it's also one of these that's it's a nice way to start the yin practice, just getting the focus inside. Perhaps we've had a very busy day with external issues. Perhaps maybe an energetic, busy day. And so now is the time just to bring our attention inwards. And relax. It's also a time to start noticing the busyness in your mind, and as the breath slows down, the mind should start to relax. Okay, so slowly coming up. And we're just going to move to the rebound. So just bringing the legs out in front of us and leaning back. And just noticing the sensations. As we were discussing with one of the students who came up with a great definition of yin, this rebound is the nourishing part. So in yin we have the disturbing part, which is the stretching, which is the uncomfortable part. And then the rebound is the nourishing, healing part. Right, let's move now to half butterfly. And with half butterfly, I'm going to propose two options. So half butterfly, we bring the foot to the groin. And we're going to move, and these are the two options. So option one would be to move your torso over your leg. So basically we're moving straight over. the target area here is the hamstring, so you should feel a nice stretch there. And if you would like to add a little bit more of a, not just the hamstrings, but also a little bit of a feeling of a stretch along the left side, you can also, for example, bring your elbow to the inside of your leg like this, and your hand behind you, or the elbow could be down like this. And so what you'll notice is that you'll get a nice stretch here, and also the stretch in your hamstrings. So just see, you know, what do you feel like doing today? What I would always suggest is starting with this one, where you're moving over your leg. You could even just hang out here, for example, with the head down or leaning the head into the hands. And then after a minute or so, you could move into the side twist, like that. Yeah. So just go where your body will tell you what it feels like doing today. So maybe you don't really feel like doing this forward bend. And if your body is asking you for a twist, then go for the twist. So remember, when we do the twist, it's a nice way to release tension in your spine. And also, of course, whenever we do twists, it's always a nice way to compress the internal organs, so we get a nice help with the digestion. And we could feel the stretch across the muscles of the left side. Okay, so slowly moving up. I mean, just sit in this position for a minute, just noticing the effect, perhaps the effect that you can feel in your hamstrings, perhaps the effect of that twist on the side. So we're going to move now to the same side. So we're going to we'll put the right leg in front. So this is the other option. So as we've done in previous classes, either choose the Sleeping Swan or choose the deer. So remember, with the Sleeping Swan, with both of them, we actually start with the leg parallel, the front shin parallel, and then we can either have the leg, we can have the leg bent, so it can be parallel to the side of the mat. We're going to move down over it, so we're looking for that nice stretch in the glute muscles. Remember, you can bring your leg, your back leg forward. You can change the position of your front shin, your front foot, and then if you don't really feel like doing the sleeping deer, you can do the Sleeping Swan. So remember, the Sleeping Swan is like this, and then slowly we come down, and if we have a bolster, we can just collapse onto the bolster, which is fantastic. So just do a little bit of experimenting today, just to see which one your body feels like, because you know there are times where your body says, oh, I really feel like a Sleeping Swan. So remember, the Sleeping Swan is, we can go like this. We basically need to find that stretch in the glute muscles. So we can bring the foot back, we can move the position, just as long as we find that stretch. And once you've found it, then enjoy just coming down and relaxing. And if you can if you have a nice bolster, it's really ideal, just so we can really get into that relaxation and feeling that nice stretch. Always being aware of the feeling in your knee, especially your front knee. If you feel any tugging or painful sensation, then always adjust your knee. So the front knee can be moved in different ways. So if you move your foot forward or backwards, you can experiment with how that feels. And then you can also shift your knee outside, so it's more outside your mat, or it can be more inside your mat. So just explore, and of course when you found that optimal position, then you can really relax and melt into the pose and enjoy. And of course, with these poses, when we come into them, there could be quite a lot of tension. So remember just to try to Draw your awareness to that area to relax it. Ensure that your shoulders and arms are relaxed. So slowly moving first up onto your elbows and then pushing yourself onto your right hip. And then let's just bring the legs in front of us just to relax. Ooh. And just noticing the feeling in that right hip. Could feel quite warm in that area. Okay. Now moving to the other side. So the butterfly first. So bringing your leg, bringing your foot close to your groin. And remember also, it's possible that if you tried the twisting on the other side, maybe on this side you feel like doing leaning over that leg. So remember, we don't always have to do exactly the same option on each side, because maybe maybe you feel your leg is more tense on this side, or maybe your spine feels a bit more stiff. So just go with the signals from your body and find out what works for you. As I said before, I often find it's nice to start just by leaning over the leg, and then once your back is a little relaxed, then you can move into the twist. But of course that depends on everybody. Everyone is different. Depends on the weather, depends on your body. So many things involved there. So now slowly moving yourself upwards. And once again, just staying in upright position, just noticing the effect. Perhaps on the side of your body, your hamstrings. And now let's do the other side. So this is Sleeping Swan or Sleeping Deer, whichever you choose, whichever you feel like doing now. So the back leg either bent in a way that's comfortable for you. Remember, we're looking for that stretch in the hip muscles of your front leg. So just find the position, and sometimes we need to do a bit of experimenting, just coming down, feeling where do I feel this, this nice stretch. For the moment, for me, for example, I'm sort of over my knee where I can feel a really nice stretch. But just experiment, just go, just spend a few seconds just looking for that perfect stretch. Remember the Goldilocks position. You can feel and you can think, oh, that's okay. It's not, maybe that's 70%. But if I move here, then wow, that really gets into that stretch. And so when you found that, then just stay there. So remember, with yin, it's all about moving slowly into the poses. It's not a quick motion because the connective tissue is not, it's not something that's elastic. Although in the retreat we were discussing the muscles, because of course what we need to do is, when we're doing these poses, we are relaxing the muscles so we can get more to that connective tissue. But as we were saying, it's all yin and yang and nothing is absolute. So even in the muscles, we have connective tissue. So 30% of the muscle body is actually connective tissue. But then, of course, there are areas of the body which have higher concentrations of connective tissue. So ligaments and the joint capsules. And those are the ones where we need to apply gentle, slow pressure for the maximum benefit. And also, of course, it's the bones. Because as with all types of exercise, the exercise to be effective, it has to apply some type of pressure, because that's actually how our bones grow. If you think of the astronauts, when they go up into space, when they come down, they've actually lost growth in their bones because the actual atmospheric pressure is no longer there. And so when they come out of the spaceship, they have to be very careful. They have to move very gently because their bones have been weakened. Their bones have not had that pressure.
And when we do yin, it's what someone coined as acupressure. So by applying pressure to these parts of the body, we're helping stimulate healthy growth and nourishment of the cells, whether they're the bones or the connective tissue.
So slowly moving ourselves upwards. Hope you feel nice and stretched. Let's just relax here for a moment before we move more to the upper part of the body. Let's move now to the cat and cow. I don't know if you remember the cat and cow. It's just a way to warm up the back a little bit, just to get rid of any tensions. So remember, we come to a tabletop position, and when we inhale, we round the back. Go slowly, don't push too much. And then exhale. Bring the head up like a cat, like a cow. This is the cow, right? Okay, so we're going to do 3 of these. So inhale, rounding the back, imagining you're a cat that's frightened or angry or whatever. And then exhale, allowing your back to round, looking up. So remember with these are great just to warm up your back. If your back's feeling a bit tense. Okay, inhaling once again, rounding the back. And exhale. This is also great if you're feeling it's a bit cold. I don't know if you get it, but when it's cold, I really get pain in my back. And when I do that, it's really nice. It gets all the tension out. And exhale, last one. Okay, great. Okay, we're going to move now to the half anahatasana. And this one, we normally do it like this, remember? But today we're going to do it one arm at a time. And so I'm going to start with my right arm. So 2 options here. Option 1, you can do it with your hips over your knees, or option 2, you can do it from child's pose. Yeah, so we're going to bring the right arm forward and the left arm bend, and lean your head either on your forearm or lean your head on the mat. So here we're getting a nice stretch into the right arm. Or if you find that too much, you can just bring it down, as I'm doing now from the child's position, the child's pose. So you see I'm still getting a nice stretch, but it's not as intense. Okay, so choose whichever one you feel like, and let's go for that one. So of course here the stretch you should be feeling is from the armpit down to your wrist. Remember, you can always, if you feel uncomfortable sensation in your shoulder, move your arm out to the side. Because of the bone structure, some of us may feel an uncomfortable sensation there. Remember the abdomen, bring the abdomen in. Don't allow the stomach just to hang out. By bringing the abdomen in, we're helping with that nice relaxation of the back. And it's possible you feel quite a lot of tension in the shoulder. Just be patient. Just being aware of how the weight of your body and gravity will help with this stretch. And slowly the tension will start to fall away. Okay, so we're slowly going to move back. And what I suggest you do that if you just come into a child's pose, just so we can relax, especially the arms and the shoulders. So just hanging out here for a minute. Just bringing your attention to the arms and shoulders, relaxing them totally. And now slowly moving ourselves upwards and back to all fours. And now bringing the left arm in front of us, and either with the hips over the knees or from the child's pose, and then coming down. And the reason we sometimes do this pose in, well, not just this pose, but other poses, where we sometimes do half and then half, is that it's a really nice way to get deeper into this position. Because sometimes if our body, perhaps we have one part of the body that is not as strong as the other, and then we tend to lean on the other side or some other aspect. But when we halve the position, then we get the chance to really work on that one side. in a way that's proportionate to that side of the body. And also if there are any balance issues, it's a great option. Remember, if it's uncomfortable to have your forehead on the ground, you can also turn your head so your cheek is on the mat. And now slowly moving ourselves backwards and the head resting into child's pose once again. Now slowly curling up. We're going to move now to the broken wings. So just to remind you of the two options for the broken wings, or what do the broken wings look like. We're actually going to just do 2 minutes. So broken wings, remember I cross my arms like this, and then I'm going to either lie down or I'm going to be kneeling. So if I'm kneeling, I'm going to lie down like this, and my head will be on the block. That's option 1. Because sometimes people find it really suffocating to be lying down. So sometimes if you're kneeling, it's a bit more accessible. And then the other one is lying down and crossing the arms like this. And I often like to have my head on the block, because if I have my head on the block, I don't suffocate myself, strangle myself. And so I have my right arm on top of my left arm. So this is a great way to open up the scapula, so open up the muscles between the shoulder blades. Because what happens when we're hunching, they become very tense. And when we do this, we are really opening them up. And it should feel relaxing afterwards. Quite comfortable. And because a lot of us have a lot of tension, it could be quite inaccessible at the moment that we're going into it. I see Alba is on a bolster. That's a fantastic idea. I'm going to try that because it's actually much more comfortable for the forehead. But then Jonathan, he's got his forehead right on to the mat. So it depends which one, and I think, yeah, it depends which one is accessible to each of you. And now very slowly, if you can, just push yourself slowly upwards. And just stay there because we're going to go immediately onto the other side. So cross the other arm on the top and then slowly come down. So possibly you'll notice as you get in, it's really uncomfortable, but then after a while, you can really feel how it relaxes and it becomes more accessible. I also find the straighter my arms are, the more comfortable it is. Now slowly coming up. And just to rest, we're going to go, and if you can just turn over onto your stomach. Turn over onto your back. That is our rebound. Just relaxing on your back. Just noticing all that area of stretch. Hopefully it feels like a nice stretch. All the shoulder area. So we're going to move now to a supported bridge. And so with the supported bridge, what I always suggest is that you start with a block. Just to remind you of the supported bridge, I lie down and then I take the block and I keep the block at the lowest height, and I put it basically under my sacrum, and then I check out how that feels, and I can stay here if that feels fine. If I want a bit more of a stretch, I can increase the height, being always sure that it's on your sacrum, and I can either stay in this position or I can open up my legs, and in this way, and my arms above my head, I can get a nice stretch. When you're on the lowest height, you can do the same. It's just a nice way to open up all the front area of your body. So just experiment a little bit. If you open your legs out and you find it uncomfortable, then of course bend your legs again. But I do find it very therapeutic, this opening up of the entire of your front body. Because remember, once again, it's that area, it's this position where the diaphragm is free and we can breathe in an effective, efficient way. And at the same time, we have the stretches along the whole front part of the body. So just noticing the movement of your abdomen in this nice stretch. So you're stretching across the abdomen, the shoulders, the hip flexors, the legs, front of the legs. Now slowly, if you have your legs straight, bend your legs and lift your pelvis to take away the block. And we're going to move directly now to the final relaxation. So grab a blanket, get comfortable. Switch off the light if you'd like a light switched off. Grab a pillow if you need a pillow. And let's get comfortable. So remember, you can also have your knees bent if that feels good for you. You can have a bolster under your knees as well. Just find what works for you in this final relaxation. And shift your body slightly to find a position where you don't need to move anymore. And today we're going to do a type of relaxation where we stress, we stretch, we tense the muscles, and then we relax. So we're just going to start with the feet. So if you can just clench the toes very tightly of both your feet, and then relax. And then we're going to start with the right foot. Point your right foot. Feel all the muscles in your right leg tensing. Lift your right leg slightly and relax. Feeling all the tension go out. And do the same. Point your left foot. Feel all the muscles in your left leg tense. Lift your leg a few millimeters off and relax. And now do the same with your pelvis. When you come to your pelvis, just lift your bum a few meters off the floor and a few centimeters off the floor and relax. A few meters now. Breathing. And then moving the attention up to the shoulder area. And when we get to the arm, when we get to the hands, let's move down to the hands. So clenching the fingers into a fist, tight, 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 and then relax. And then start with the right hand. Extending the fingers, lifting the arm slightly off the ground, and then relax. And do the same with the other one. Extending the left hand, tensing all the muscles in that left arm, bringing it up and relax. And then lastly, your head. Just bring it a little bit up and relax. And just hopefully noticing that after that exercise, the last vestiges of tension have melted away. And now you can bring your awareness to your breath. Noticing the calm and quiet sensation in your body. Okay, so let's start to wake up the body, moving fingers and toes, making movements or clenching or pointing, whatever feels good with your wrists and your ankles. And then close the legs and bring the arms above the head. Nice big stretch there. And then inhale and exhale, bring the arms down. Bend the knees and allow your knees to fall on one side. And then slowly push yourself into a seated position. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you survived. And your arms are feeling good, and your legs are feeling nice and stretched. Any questions?